Here are 100 reasons why you should not live in Toronto.
Someone threw garbage off the balcony like an idiot and
You live in the jungle, but the jungle is inside your house.
So people in Toronto are panicking. They're saying violence has gone up.
We have a major homelessness problem in Toronto.
Why people who live in Toronto hate that they live in Toronto.
Toronto right now is on the brink of some really significant problems.
Toronto has quickly become a dystopian shithole.
I know that the crime is going up in Toronto, but goddamn.
Welcome back to Canadian Rant, the place where we talk about the Canada you're actually living in, not the Canada politicians sell you. Today we're talking about Toronto, Canada's biggest city, the financial capital, the place everyone was told to move to if they wanted success and opportunity. But here's the reality in 2026. Living in Toronto feels less like building a future and more like barely surviving. Sky-high rent, insane traffic, transit that costs more and works less, rising crime, groceries that feel like luxury items, and weather that punishes you year-round. And people aren't just complaining anymore. They're leaving. Torontonians are packing up, moving out, and choosing anywhere that feels more affordable and livable. So today let's get into why Toronto is losing people, why affordability has collapsed, and whether this city is still worth it for regular Canadians.
Welcome to Toronto, India.
Damn! Is this guy alive? Holy crap! Whoa! What's going on here? Hey, you alive? Are you alive? Good golly! Damn! Whew!
Toronto has quickly become a dystopian shithole compared to other places in the world, with high crime, violence, carjackings, home invasions, stabbings, shootings, high taxes, high cost of living. The value for what you get for your money compared to everywhere else in the world is absolutely terrible. The service is terrible. The quality of food and ingredients is terrible. And I just spent 3 weeks living in a war zone in the Ukraine, and I found myself happier with the quality of everything that I was getting for my money, and I honestly felt safer, which is crazy because they're fucking bombing the place.
Shit's like, you live in the jungle, but the jungle is inside your house. Look around. We still have the same thing, everybody. Some people don't have current. From I come here, I've been here 56 days. I live out of streets, out of places. I can't get current, and I'm still sleeping on the ground. Look at the lady's tent over there. That's how she sleeps. Another gentleman sleeps like this. Just a personal example. A $3,000 apartment every month, live in a tent. That's life, baby.
How are you able to provide for your family and support them?
Well, I come here not only just for the food bank, also for the advocacy. This is not just a place for a food bank. It's a place that we come and feel embraced and helped in all areas of our lives. And I come here on a daily now. It's not just about a food bank. It's about the whole support that you get from the community here.
What would you also say to someone who's nervous about coming to a food bank?
Don't lower yourself because you need the food bank. They smile at you, they greet you, and that makes a big difference because you don't know what struggles and what that person's facing on a daily. This place really has helped me and my family tremendously overcome, hunger. I appreciate that.
I'm making this video because just a few hours ago, the Toronto Star released an article in which a jury acquitted a teenager of some serious charges. What were those charges in the incident? The charges had to do with this teenager having a firearm on them, getting an incident with an 18-year-old in which that 18-year-old was shot and murdered. And then this teenager goes to trial and convinces a jury that growing up in Scarborough reminded them of growing up in Iraq and that they felt unsafe. And for whatever reason, the jury said plausible, acquitted on all your charges, in which an 18-year-old was killed. Now, this is where things get crazy for a lot of people. Just a few weeks ago, a homeowner in Vaughan Region who was defending his home and his property fired off, allegedly, a gun into the air to scare off these would-be home invaders, and they fled, and he got charged. And this is where Canadians are very confused. Where is the common sense and application of justice in our system? Why does it feel like it's two-tiered? For some people, some rules apply, for others it doesn't, and nobody knows where we all sit. This is madness.
Yo, look what happened yesterday in 47th Thorncliffe. Someone threw garbage off the balcony like an idiot, and it came crashing down on my cousin's car, broke his windshield, and it broke his sunroof. I don't even know if mechanics fixed that. Like, what? And it's gonna be at least $500 in damages. I don't know who's gonna do anything about it. Management, insurance, I don't even know. If anybody knows anything, let me know. This is messed up for real.
So people in Toronto are panicking. They're saying violence has gone up. They're worried about the robberies, the killings, the stabbings on the TTC. And for those who don't know, the TTC is basically public transportation in Toronto. First of all, let me say that Toronto is extremely liberal, to the point where it'll probably be the downfall of the city. But I'm solely speaking in terms of morals when I say that. But when you look at Toronto from the standpoint of opportunities, I would say there's very few places in the country or even the world that could compete. Too many people complain about the insane cost of living, but not enough people acknowledge the ridiculous amount of opportunities. But when it comes to the violence, that's just a result of people pushing for the removal of religion in the city. Nobody believes in a higher power. They think the government should protect them. There's the gender war, and nobody believes in a strong family unit anymore. So morally, Toronto is destroyed. But if you're looking for opportunities, it's very much alive.
Toronto right now is on the brink of some really significant problems. Youth violence is at a rate that I've never seen before.
In 2024, crime rate has actually decreased in Canada.
Yes.
But however, in Toronto, it has increased by 50%.
Yes.
There's no police. There is no security check at any public places. Either it's too safe or they're being too naive.
Oh, too naive. So I cannot pass a man in this city between the ages of probably 16 to mid 30s and not expect that he has a gun on him.
Really?
Yes. Which is why when the Liberal government talks about the gun bans, it's such an absolute joke and such a waste of taxpayers' money. The Liberals banned handguns. It's illegal for a legal gun owner to import a gun, for a gun store to import a handgun. They're illegal in Canada. And yet our streets are flooded.
Toronto is literally becoming so insane. We were the safe city. We were like the smaller version, safe version of New York. But now I feel like we're turning more into New York. There's so many crazy people. I always have to be on the lookout now in case anything happens. I can't take the TTC without feeling super safe. Like I used to nap in the subway, and no, that's never happening anymore. I have to be on the lookout. I just feel like the city's becoming more insane, more dangerous. It's crazy.
Things are more expensive. People don't want to go out to eat and enjoy themselves. Toronto is apparently one of the loneliest places in the country. A new study says the city is experiencing a rise in depression and anxiety following the pandemic. We hit the streets to find out what you think.
I'm kind of surprised to hear it's like the loneliest, but I can definitely get that in a big city, it's hard to like get adjusted and find people to connect with.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, I barely see my friends now. I usually do everything by myself.
I can see why sometimes people on the street aren't the most welcoming.
And for those that do feel lonely, what's your advice to them?
Try to have a good support system. Try to meet up with friends at least once a week if you can. Even just video call, FaceTime. You don't have to go somewhere.
I've seen like some cute things on TikTok, like running clubs or book clubs. I think you just kind of have to think of what kind of hobbies you like and then try to look for things in the area.
Two ideas in your head where you can say, look, I think Toronto probably has gotten a little more dangerous over since the pandemic, during the pandemic and leading on. Like I think some crime has increased, but I do think that like if all you, it's a very classic thing that if all you do is focus on the bad, like it's easy to compound 10 bad stories that happened over 2 months and make it seem like everything's fucking insane. But there was during the pandemic, or sort of that like little period where the pandemic was like being alleviated and people were starting to get out more, where there was a lot of attacks on subways, buses, at subway stations. Like the woman at Kipling that was lit on fire. There was that woman on the bus who was just stabbed in the face until she died. There's a bunch of stuff.
And I think a lot of that was also pent up human energy.
Yeah.
That everyone came out of the pandemic, I think, much more sensitive and much more willing to lash.
Since no one wants to fucking say it, I will be the one to say it. We have a major homelessness problem in Toronto, and no one seems to give a fuck. No one seems to care. The government is not doing shit about it. Have you noticed how many homeless people are at Union Station? And Union Station is where we have all of our games, all like the stadiums or whatever. The CN Tower is here. So all of the tourist destination, all the tourist attractions are all at Union Station. So imagine how surprised these people are to come to Toronto and, you know, we're the six, like, you know, we're all fucking so goated out here. And that's the first thing they see. I am so, like, blown away by yes, I'm getting angry, by, like, the lack of care and empathy and, you know, that's coming from our government. Why is no one doing anything about this? And for those who want to say there's homeless shelters, they can go to homeless shelters. They are fucking full. Like this is literally one Google search away, okay? If you search up how many beds are available in the GTA, the answer will be very, very close to zero. I don't understand where the tax dollars are going. I don't know. We're just spending our money on stupid fucking shit. Like, I've lived in so many places in my life, you know, and I've never seen anything like this. And I've been here for a while and I just saw how it all just, you know, went downhill.
Time we air the dirty laundry about why everyone loves to hate on Toronto. I've been living here for almost 3 years now, and I've had this talk with my friends many times about why Toronto loves to hate on the people in Toronto, and why people who live in Toronto hate that they live in Toronto. This city lacks individualism. This city punishes people who go against the grain, who walk a different walk, who talk a different talk. And this city rewards people who blend in, who fit in with the rest, who dress the same, who do the same. The reason a lot of people hate this city is because they're not themselves here. Because they're so scared of being themselves and not fitting in with the masses that they just blend in with the rest. And so when you go somewhere else, when you visit somewhere else, when you travel somewhere else, you feel like you can actually be yourself. Maybe the problem isn't Toronto. Maybe the problem is the way that we look at Toronto, the way that we walk in Toronto, and the way that we treat other people in Toronto. It's time we start being ourselves and stop being so worried about what this city's going to think of us.
Well done to Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, and the Liberals. Transit violence rising across Canada and some cities by nearly 300%. This is what happens when you have Liberal policies dominating our society. Take a look at what's going on in Toronto alone. The number of reported assaults on Toronto area transit leapt by 160% in that period, while reports of all violent crimes on the transit system were up by 127%. And in Winnipeg, the overall violent crime rate on transit has more than tripled during that time, a 281% jump in the number of transit-related violent crimes. And it's more than doubled in the Edmonton and Montreal areas, as well as the Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge region of Ontario. When are the Liberal voters going to take their blinders off and finally realize that the party they continue to vote for, no matter what, is destroying this country? And it shouldn't matter if you're a Liberal or Conservative. To all the Liberals out there losing their minds that somebody criticizes the Liberal establishment and Trudeau and Carney, you guys are insane. Do you want to live in a safe city or not?
Well, I fell victim to crime in the greater Toronto area. Long story short, 2 detectives showed up to my house yesterday. They said that my plates have been duplicated and they've been used in violent crime and in theft throughout the city. The best part about this is the officers told me, hey, go to Service Ontario, go get new plates. We're advising you to go get new plates ASAP because you will get pulled over as you drive. Well, I went to Service Ontario today, and long and behold, I can't get new plates. Reason why I can't get new plates is there's a ticket on file, and they also used my plates on the 407, and they racked up a bill over $1,500. Now, the lady at Service Ontario said, hey, my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do until this amount is cleared. So now I have to contact the 407 and deal with that. You know, it's crazy to think, oh, that's not going to happen to me, and, you know, you just go on about your day. Well, guess what? It happened to me. And it can happen to you too. So what can we do? I don't know. But I got to change my plates, and I got to talk to the 407, and we got to figure things out. And listen, I know that the crime is going up in Toronto, but god damn. Oh, and one more thing. They're actually using a white Dodge Durango, just like mine, for all this crime stuff. It can't get better than that.
So I'm downtown Toronto, and I'm here for a concert. And on the tickets, they never listed anything about limited parking or anything like that. I mean, Toronto is an absolute disaster. It's a gong show. It's an inept city. It's not a major city. It pretends to be. Its traffic is ridiculous. It takes 1 hour to get from Toronto to Toronto. It's a joke, but it's actually a reality in this city. And now they closed all the parking lots because of a race that's going to happen here this weekend. So all the parking lots are closed. So I'm a 30-minute walk away from where I have to be. That's the best parking, and it's limited parking time. All I'm asking is that someone does a documentary on this shithole city.
I've said it before, but the stats are out, and Toronto police are warning that distraction thefts are surging in Toronto. So far this year, 374 incidents have been reported to police. Suspects are mainly targeting seniors ages 60 to 90, and often when they're alone and wearing visible jewelry. Most of these thefts happen on weekdays, mid-morning to mid-afternoon, in parking lots, on city streets, and even at their own homes. Thieves are asking for directions. Maybe they spill something on you, cause a scene, or even ask to pray with you, all to steal your wallets, purses, phones, or jewelry. Stay alert in busy areas. Keep your bags zipped and closed. Be cautious with overly engaging strangers, and don't leave valuables unattended. If someone's close enough to touch your jewelry, they're too close.
Here are 100 reasons why you should not live in Toronto. Starting off, we have the house prices are too high, the rent is among the highest in Canada, and the property taxes among the highest in Ontario. And then we have the high cost of groceries, the high cost of car insurance, and the high cost of childcare. Moving on, the cost of dining out is the most expensive in Toronto, along with the cost of utilities. Moving on, we have the expensive gyms and the rising costs of everyday essentials. Cost didn't get you, let's try this. It has among the worst congestion in North America. There is constant road construction, the Gardiner Expressway is constantly jammed, and the Don Valley Parkway is basically a parking during rush hour. Parking is limited and very expensive, and the TTC is extremely unreliable. The subway is constantly breaking down and being delayed, and the buses are always jam-packed as well. Think these problems are going to get better? Nope. The transit planning is actually very slow in Toronto, and the rollout of new projects is ridiculously slow. Not convinced? Let's talk about the long, harsh winters with a lot of snow. The ice storms that make commuting dangerous, especially if you're not doing it by car, and the extreme humidity in the summer, not to mention the heat waves. And then we have the potholes, slippery sidewalks, and the wind tunnels caused by the high building. Not convinced? We also have the depressingly bad air quality, the very sudden changes that tend to happen in Toronto weather, and the seasonal depression that comes with the lack of sunlight. Not convinced? Let's talk about the overcrowding, the overpopulation leading to very crowded streets, as well as the overcrowded public spaces and parks. At this point, everyone knows that it's very hard to find seating in cafes and restaurants in Toronto. If you go to the downtown core, you can say goodbye to personal space and hello to huge lineups wherever you go. The tourists in Toronto cause a lot of congestion, and then good luck finding a family doctor in Toronto. Do you need to go to some government branches to get some work done? Well, good luck and say hi to the very long lines over there. Looking for a quiet spot? Well, you'll be struggling to find one in Toronto. And that's not even mentioning how overwhelming it can get during the heavy season. Let's talk crime, rising gun violence, rising carjackings, the high rate of bike theft, the rising incidence of stabbing, the rising rates of petty crime and pickpocketing, and the increase in drug-related crime in certain neighborhoods. Let's keep going. We got the break-ins as well. They are on the rise, as well as homeless encampments. Not to mention the drugs and how many neighborhoods are unsafe at night. And due to the increased population, the police response time is pretty slow. Let's keep it going. We got an increasing homelessness crisis. Whatever parks you go to, you're going to find tents and makeshift shelters. Panhandling is basically guaranteed in any common area. And the very obvious rise in the mental health crisis. Social services are all overloaded. Rehab and addiction support is very expensive and very hard to get into. Affordable housing is basically non-existent. The income inequality is insane at this point. And even when you can find a shelter, they are very unsafe for the ones.
Toronto didn't become unlivable overnight. This was slow, predictable, and completely avoidable.
Housing prices exploded while wages stayed flat. Rent doubled, then doubled again. People were told to accept roommates forever, commute longer, and lower their expectations. Transit became more expensive and less reliable. Traffic turned daily commutes into soul-draining marathons. Food costs skyrocketed. And safety, something people used to take for granted, no longer feels guaranteed. People aren't leaving Toronto because they hate it. They're leaving because the city no longer works for them. When rent eats half your income, when commuting steals hours of your life every week, when you're constantly stressed just to stay afloat. At some point, you stop asking, is this worth it, and start planning your exit. Toronto used to be worth the grind. Now it's just grind, and it breaks with no reward. And here's the uncomfortable truth. A city that only works for the wealthy is a city in decline. When teachers, nurses, tradespeople, service workers, and young families can't afford to live here, the city hollow outs. Communities disappear, businesses lose workers, and culture fades. So when you hear people are leaving Toronto, don't shame them. They're not giving up, they're adapting. The real question isn't why people are leaving. It's why staying has become so hard. Because if nothing changes, housing, transit, affordability, safety, this won't slow down. It will accelerate. Big cities don't die from lack of demand. They die when regular people can no longer afford to exist in them. Comment below if you thought about leaving Toronto, or already did. Share this video so more people see what's happening. And subscribe to Canadian Rant for honest conversations about Canada's future. Because when the biggest city in the country starts bleeding people, it's not a trend. It's a warning.